All right. Now, as you all know, while Hasan Piker was partying, I was studying the blade. And by the blade, I mean sneaky debate tactics. Considering the respective difference in the the allegorical blade studying we've done, people in my chat were saying, "You should look, Hasan did a debate." He had this guy over, Christian Walker, who's like the gay black conservative. I say it's like that would be with a capital T, G, B, and C successively, because I mean, if you've ever watched a conservative who's a member of any minority group, you know how that gets played up. Anyway, I find it incredibly annoying. Oh, sorry. And I'm sure you will too at the end of this. Anyway, apparently they debated something. Let me see. Oh, and here's Felix from Chapo.
Do you think the United States is a meritocracy where people with merit actually succeed?
A lot of the time, yeah.
Really?
I don't think it's universal.
It begins.
But for a lot of people, yes, absolutely.
I don't agree with that at all.
I mean, you don't think it's possible to work your way up with merit? Literally. This is anecdotal, but like, it's just not true. So that's so many people's stories. So.
I mean, no, it definitely happens. It happens less than in places that have less of a "fuck you, pay me" thing than we do. No one's gonna call like any of these like EU nations socialist by any meaningful definition, but people are less on their own there, and they have more social mobility. More people move up than they do here.
Yeah.
In the last.
I feel like that's setting the bar really low. Like, social mobility is higher in the Scandinavian social democracies, but like not by a ton. I mean, they still have the same basic problem. I feel like for this, all right, we're being a pedantic asshole. We're criticizing Hasan and I guess Felix's debate chops, and that's okay because Felix doesn't like me, so we can be mean to Felix. And Hasan, I think Hasan and I are cool, so we won't be mean to Hasan, and we can be as mean to Christian Walker as we want. So I feel like you have to attack this at its fundamentals. Okay, the issue is that like when conservatives will do this massive logical leap where they'll see the world and they'll recognize something about the world, which is factually true, okay? It is factually true that the harder you work and the better you are at doing things, the more likely you are to succeed, okay? Like, that is true. That is a factually correct statement in essentially every walk of life. The more effort you put in, the better you are at doing something, the more likely you are to succeed. However, that doesn't mean there's a proportional relationship between those two values, okay? In a meritocracy, you would get the rewards proportional to effort and talent, not vaguely associated with, you know? There would be a one-to-one correlation, you know? People who are very good at something would do very well, and people who are not would not do so well, and you wouldn't have constant examples of people who work all the time and have very little in life, and examples of people born into massive wealth who did nothing to earn it, you know? The issue is that the idea of a meritocracy is not merely the idea that hard work begets success, okay? A meritocracy is a society in which hard work doesn't just beget success, hard work is success. A direct correlation between those two. So it's inseparable, you know? The closest thing we have to meritocracies in the real world, honestly, are kind of sports performances. In athletics, you know, if you're talking about like powerlifting or whatever, like that is a case where the people who are the best at the thing are at the top of the game, you know? And even that's not necessarily like perfectly the case because there is inequitable access to, resources necessary to train, like, nutrition that you use to get the body, so on and so forth. There's always luck involved. But yeah, anyway, just it's important to attack that stuff at the roots. But, we'll see.
30 years.
Like, I wouldn't be in the situation that I'm in if I didn't have a good spawn point. Okay, my family relatively affluent,
gamer language
in Turkey, right?
Gamer.
And despite the fact that my dad lost everything by the time I went to college, it doesn't matter because the affluent beginning that I got in the form of a great education and all this other stuff, not being burdened with like debt or having to work or anything like that, and being able to focus on myself and my education, gave me the opportunities that
Absolutely.
that I
Same
have
for
now.
me.
But that's not so social safety nets would make up for that.
Well, both my parents grew up extremely poor, worked their way up. So it's just like we can play this game of stories, but
like one of your parents had like
no.
Wait, that's fine. Wait, didn't Christian Walker just defer to people's stories as evidence for the existence of meritocracy? Didn't Christian just say, like, there are so many stories of people working hard to get where they are? And now Hasan is like, oh yeah, okay, well, you know, being born with a silver spoon in your mouth kind of helps well. And he's like, well, that's anecdotal. Yeah, very good.
My parents, zero. My dad
I know.
fat.
But what I'm saying is, like, he had.
Oh,
he's
athletic
like
ability. Well,
like,
some people have IQ ability.
Not just like athletic ability, but like one of the most amazing athletic abilities of all time.
And my
probably we'll ever
stepdad,
see.
and my stepdad had no athletic ability. I think he's probably has a really high IQ. Sure, built a business, has much more money than my father. I mean, yeah, maybe I do not want to all end up at the same place. I want people who have a special skill to get rewarded for that skill, whether that's a brain skill, whether that's an athletic skill. That's what I want.
But do you know what?
So wait, hold on. Oh my god, I can't believe this guy gets praised for being intelligent. Every time I see him on TikTok or whatever, like, he's incredibly fucking dumb. So he just conflated a meritocracy, Christian Walker, I mean. He just conflated a meritocracy with the prescriptive idea that hard work should be rewarded. He just said, like, well, I want to live in a society in which people who do well are rewarded. But nothing Hasan or Felix said contradicted that at any point. Like, at all. Right? So right now what he's doing is he's conflating two things. The leftists' critique of the idea that we have a meritocracy and the idea that people who do well should be rewarded at all. Essentially, he's ascribing the stereotype of, like, the communist who thinks everyone should get equal things no matter how good they do or how much they produce or how hard they work or how talented they are, you know, which has always been, like, one of the dumb straw men that people throw up to attack communists, you know. So hopefully they refute that.
No one has a
like,
disagreement with
do you
that.
think that like the children of a guy who has no skills, who just, hey, every day's a gamble for him and he always loses, do you think they deserve to, like, live in misery, like, to live without dignity?
No,
to,
but
like, worry about where they're gonna live? No,
but there's so many kids with parents who have special skills, and those parents blow their special skill off, and that's on the parent.
Wait, I thought we were talking about meritocracy. Now we're talking... Wait, okay, Felix was talking about, like, a social safety net or something. And now... Wait, if we're talking about meritocracy, the issue here is that there are conditions related to the circumstances of your birth that you have zero control over that significantly affect the likelihood of you doing well in life. You can on average say how much money a person is going to make in their adult life at the point of birth, depending on their zip code, the zip code in which they are born. You know, like, the fact that is the case means we can't live in a meritocracy, because when you're born, you don't choose your zip code. If there are deterministic factors over which you have no control, like, that is by definition not a meritocracy. So, like, I don't know what the hell this has to do with living your potential or whatever.
But, like, what about?
But I don't think
like,
that...
what about the kid though? Like, is the kid just fucked then?
No, but what do you propose? That
Like, do you think
That there's like government housing?
we have government housing.
No, we don't.
You want better government housing?
No, we don't
more?
have. We don't have government housing.
Not to the extent that
Not
we
talking
need it.
about meritocracy
I'm
anymore.
proposing that just there is a basic guarantee of human dignity,
Yeah.
like that other countries have.
And now we're
That
talking
you're not
about
just totally
social
fucked
safety
if your
net.
dad is like, oh, I spent all the bread money.
Yeah.
Spent all the bread money
Or-
on unleaded gas to win a street race and I lost.
Or
Because that's a lot of people. I've known guys like that, and sometimes they have kids.
Or depending on
It's
where
like,
you're
damn,
born,
dude.
right? Like, you can't honestly say, obviously, that, like,
I think you can tell Christian Walker's perspective on this is, like, fuck the poor from the face that he made.
yeah,
Like that other countries have. That you're not just totally fucked if your dad is like
Like that, see?
yeah.
that other countries have. That you're not just totally
Sucks.
fucked.
I love gay conservatives because gays are already the bitchiest, like, people in the universe, you know? So add that to the contempt for minority groups that conservatives have, and you have, like, the ultimate, like, smug.
Family in Beverly Hills has the same starting point as
No,
like, a
I
kid
don't want
born
to
in-
solve. But they
Hey,
should have
hey, that's me.
that, like, some kid born into, like, a rich executive producer's family in Beverly Hills has the same starting point as
No,
like a
I
kid
don't want
born
to
in-
solve, but they should have an extra start. Their parent worked to give them that starting point.
No,
So
no.
Okay, well, so that is by definition not a meritocracy. If you think people should have an easier life because their parents worked harder, that is by definition a system in which people are being prioritized not by merit. Unless you're talking about like bloodline merit or some wacky, like I curse you and your the next 3 generations of your offspring or whatever. Like I don't, but yeah, no, that is by definition not a meritocracy.
No.
you're saying fuck what that parent put in? No, he has the starting point because someone worked for it. And they should have that starting point.
Then
because
that
it was
is
worked
not.
for. It didn't come from something random.
But you're missing my point. What I'm trying to say is that people are always going to have additional advantage.
Wait, did I just see somebody in Hasan's chat say Vosh? How do they know?
What I'm trying to say is that people are
It must have been because they said Beverly Hills, born in Beverly Hills. There you go. I see. They're predicting.
always going to have additional advantages. That's a given. I'm not advocating for like the equality of outcome or whatever the fuck Republicans think like leftists believe in. Okay, that's not a real thing because look at the NBA. There's always going to be someone that's taller, someone that's faster, someone that's stronger, someone with more skill. That's not what I'm talking about at all. What I'm simply stating is being able to offer every single citizen, every single individual that steps foot inside of the U.S. fucking border, okay?
Oh yeah,
across the board,
no.
a same level of base material equality.
So we're not even remotely talking about meritocracy anymore. Now we're talking about a welfare state, but okay.
On a same starting point
Now,
address
sweetie, basic human dignity, no. Miss me with that. Homophobia levels rising. I get to say it, okay? I fuck men. I lived next to West Hollywood for 21 years of my life, okay? I've been around more flamboyant gay people than most of you could ever imagine, okay? All right? I'm allowed to. Apparently, Christian Walker doesn't like being called gay, though. Like, he calls himself, like, a guy who's into guys, but he doesn't want to be called gay because he doesn't want to be associated with, like, other gay people or something. Which is the most pick-me shit I've ever heard in my life, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, he says, like, the G word or something. Yeah. Holy shit. That is, yeah, it's very embarrassing.
all of their humanly interests and needs so that everyone can prosper and everyone can have lead a life of dignity.
And then I could like,
we
get
have
on board with something you were saying. If you didn't say anybody who steps over the border, why are you when we have Americans who can't take care of themselves, can't afford basic.
But you don't even.
But wait, but conservatives don't even care about those people. That is such a classic conservative line, dude. You're like, hey, we should like give everyone a basic standard of living. And then the conservatives are like, not while we have homeless veterans. And you're like, okay, well, can we give like free housing to homeless veterans? And they're like, this happens every time. Yeah, all the time, man.
Wait, but okay. So you'd be fine. So you'd be fine if we had a stronger border.
If we had a stronger border, we talked him.
I'm really sorry. I know I'm being like a pedantic asshole here, but like I feel like all of the easy digs Hasan has open to him right now, he doesn't go in on. I know like they're being chill and this isn't like a hyper debate bro environment or whatever, but I do like it is like an audience of tens of thousands of people. I would be interested in seeing, like holding his feet to the fire, you know? Christian Walker, like how can you say that like we need to take care of our own before we can help people crossing the border, but like you don't want to help our own either, you know? Like, how can you say you care about meritocracy when you prioritize the idea of being privileged at birth thanks to the behavior of your parents, you know? It's like, yeah, I don't know.
Immigration, then we could discuss it, sure. I don't know
I'm not like giving him shit or whatever. I'm just like, you know, different specialties.
Discuss it. What we can discuss what?
But when we're bringing.
We could discuss it. It's like,
but you won't even say yes to that.
No,
you won't even say yes to that, even if we had.
We could discuss.
You won't even say yes to that, even if we had.
I've used that one too many times in my life to know what that means. To not know what that means, rather.
Yeah, no.
So you're against it, like even though
I don't know what you're saying. You're saying I'm against universal, but y'all pitch it in a way where you say, "Oh, it's just the bare minimum for people."
Yeah.
No, lots of people are surviving at the bare minimum on the horrible welfare system that we have. So no, they people
Wait,
are
that's not
surviving
good,
off
though.
the.
But like,
No,
that's
but
not...
so then you say, but what is your bare minimum? A luxury
bare
apartment,
minimum,
like
no,
Austria
a bare
has?
minimum
I
is
don't-
a bare minimum is
What the fuck is Christian Walker talking about here? What is that? I don't understand what point he was trying to get at there.
like adequate shelter that has like actual fucking hot water, cold water, like
even
heating,
if you're not working on
heating,
your life at
cooling.
all, like
Yes.
lots of the
Yeah,
no.
100%.
Well, like,
No.
what if you,
I like Christian Walker's like, well, what do you mean by a decent living? And Hasan is like, I think you should have access to interior plumbing. And Christian Walker is like, nah, no. I think poor people should have to go to the local park and fill up a basin from the water fountain and then bathe in that. Nah, no. Running water, electricity. I think they should have bedpans, you know, chamber pots that they use. Oh my god. I'm sorry. You want a roof for poor people? A roof?
I'm not for it.
if a kid's parent is like just fucked up, they can't get it together, whatever reason. Whether you want to say it's because they're a bad person.
Well, let's do
or
something for kids then. Let's have a
But
program for
they're
kids.
gonna live with their parent. Like, why should they have to live at a fucking bus stop
Yeah,
because their
something
dad
for-
like fucks up all?
What? Look at I again like the face, man. The future of conservatism is the gays, okay? Because people don't call them out nearly hard enough when they're smug. When flamboyant gay bottoms are smug, people hold off on criticizing them for it because they're afraid of being called homophobic. But I'm not, okay? Christian Walker deserved to be punched in the face for the way that he's reacting to like poor people suffering right now, okay? And listen, being gay does not mean you get to be smug about shit like that, all right?
Live with their parent. Like, why should they have to live at a fucking bus stop?
No, oh, sorry, nuh-uh, sweetie. Nope. Wow, human dignity. No.
Because their dad like fucks up all the time.
no, they're kids, elderly, non-productive workers, or like unproductive people that are not a part of like the labor class or whatever should still deserve a life of dignity, especially because we can fucking pay for it. If your fear, on the other hand, is that like, well, then we're not going to incentivize these people to like work hard or whatever. You're not incentivized to fucking work hard right now, but yet you still do, right?
I think I am. Yeah.
Well, what is your
more.
incentive?
I want more than even my parents are willing to give me. So
Okay,
yeah,
but
I'm
like
totally
you have been
incentivized.
afforded a life of luxury from because of who your parents are, and yet you still want more. That a lot of people strive for that, except they don't even have like their needs taken care of.
I'd say if you pulled all celebrity children, yeah, there's a lot of celebrity children who work hard, and yeah, sure. But if the majority don't, I would say
By the way, we have research on this. From what we can tell, the implementation of better welfare systems in UBI does not prevent people from working. Even in Scandinavian countries that have a relatively strong social safety net, people choose to work. Like there are countries that do this, and we can look at them, and it's not like 50% of the population is just staying at home eating Cheez-Its, you know? They go out there and work. Yeah, the idea of like all the poor people are lazy and they will just sit at home and do nothing if it means they get to live off welfare is a long-standing classist myth that has been around for hundreds of years and is empirically incorrect. There is absolutely no reason to tolerate this talking point.
the majority don't want more than they have.
Yeah, and they shouldn't die, is my point.
No,
They, like,
no, but
okay, that's fine.
No,
Their parents
but
worked hard. They no longer have to. That's fine. If they don't want to work hard, that's fine. What I'm simply stating is that there's plenty of people. Like, you got fucking kids, their parents are teachers in Oklahoma. You know what I mean? They're making like 28 grand a fucking year. They have to do Uber on top of that. Like, that child should not be in a worse situation overall. Like, that child should be taken.
I will say though, and this is important to point out because we're going to cultivate like different audiences. Keep in mind, like, you guys watch me, which means that you like watching like people you don't like get debunked. You know what I mean? But in terms of appealing to a general audience, Hasan does come off way more level-headed and considerate here, and Christian Walker does come off way more like sociopathically inconsiderate of like the plight of the poor here. So even if the points aren't being like epically debunked, in terms of their presentation, I still think this is like very obviously like a clear win, I guess, for Hasan. I do think, of course, like the debunking is important too. I'm just saying that absent the debunking, that doesn't just mean there's nothing of value here, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, no, he comes across as evil. Yeah. Yeah. The Christian Walker, of course. I mean, not Hasan. Is it because this guy sounds like a monster? Well, I do appreciate them being like forthcoming about it, right? You know, the funny thing is, I've seen so many people. Glenn Greenwald praised Christian Walker as like a young, smart conservative who triggers the libs or whatever, because Glenn Greenwald's a Republican now, you know. But like, I don't think he's particularly bright. I just think that like you get this tokenization shit every once in a while from the right, and they always like eat it up because it's like the ultimate anti-liberal weapon. You know what I mean? Like, here we go. We have a conservative, and they're a gay this time, you know? They do this. It's like every time this happens, like it gets hardcore weaponized. And in this case, like, I think I just, you can't really carry this, like, Yas Queen Slay, like, gay bottom energy into being classist. It just doesn't work that well. It just doesn't work that well. I'm sorry, you know? The sassy energy is great on RuPaul. It works fine if you're critiquing outfits. It's good if you're being catty about friend drama. When you're talking about how, like, poor children should live in roofless houses with no plumbing, I don't know. It's just not... It just doesn't land as well. I don't know.
Care of. That parent should be taken care of. There should be fucking
Aren't
housing.
they being taken care of?
No,
not at all.
there
are people who
They're
like
living under a bridge. They can't afford food. Like
they're living.
No,
They're living like. Do you see the story in New York about the apartment that had no heat, so they had to run a fucking space heater in the hallway?
And it fucking
and
lit
it
the
fucking
apartment
burned down
up.
and killed 18 people. I bet there are out of those 18 people, I could pick out people that would fit your benchmark of someone who's doing everything right, who's like doing what they're supposed to, whatever that means.
Oh, this is from the Economic Research Service from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. About 10% of U.S. households had food insecurity at some point. Oh, yeah, here. This is from 2001 to 2020. So we've had a range of 10% to like 15% of food insecurity, and then very low food security, like 4 to 6%, depending on the time. So this is tens of millions of people here. This is not a marginal like fraction of the population. This isn't like one or two really bad areas in our cities. This is tens of millions of human beings in the wealthiest country on earth. And this is just food insecurity. We're not talking about stuff like proper house insulation, proper access to AC if you live in Arizona, and heaters if you live in, you know, I guess not Arizona, depending on the time of year. This isn't talking about access to quality education. This isn't talking about, you know, there's so much stuff here that, yeah, and this like stuff like this mostly affects kids too. Like, yeah.
You would find enough people, and they still got fucked because this is a brutal country, even for people who are ostensibly doing everything right.
Yeah, plenty of people who work super fucking hard. Most people, I would say, even that work super fucking hard, are never going to get above, you know, they're never going to actually fucking reach financial security, not because they haven't worked hard enough or smart enough, but simply because they're fucking spawn point. Like they were born into it.
This is mathematically correct. Yes. This is 100% true. Yeah.
Yeah, they got fucked. They were born into an immigrant family, or they were born overseas and then their parents had to come here illegally and offer a better life for them, but they haven't been able to reach that financial security. That budget shortfall is built into their existence. There's nothing you can do about it. And the unfortunate reality is, like, look, I come from a relatively affluent background.
Okay, quick critique. Nothing you can do about it is technically incorrect. Obviously, there are exceptional cases where people overcome those. You can tell because look at Christian's face when he said that. I bet you he's going to zone in on that as soon as Hasan's done talking, you know?
There's nothing you can do about it. And the unfortunate reality is, like, look, I come from a relatively affluent background.
Like he wants to yeah,
you come from a very affluent background.
He's going to focus on that, ignore the broader point.
You've probably encountered, but being poor, especially when I was living on my own, being poor is very expensive.
Maybe not. Maybe I guess we'll see.
I had to fucking do some crazy shit to be able to like get this amount of protein that I need to fucking consume after working out. Like I would get like expired chicken. You know what I mean? I lived in a fucking kitchen of a frat house. Not to say that like I made it so everyone else can or whatever the fuck. And I still had a fuckload of advantages in comparison to most other people that are in similar circumstances. But I know for a fact that like there are so many people who aren't able to get that leg up, that aren't able to ever reach any sort of point beyond financial insolvency because they had to fucking, they're saddled with debt. Because they went to college. They're saddled with debt because they have a shitty parent.
One thing Hasan can do that I will never be able to do is this like relatability thing. I know I don't come off as particularly relatable because of the language I use and the way I come off, like, but he comes off like such a dude bro. You know what I mean? Like, even though he's living in the Hagia Sophia, I think. And he's like shook hands with the queen and everything. He comes off as more relatable than me, I think, It's definitely an appealing aesthetic.
Like Felix mentioned, they're saddled with debt because medicine. That's the most insane part. They're saddled with debt because they just, they don't have health care. Went to the hospital, some shit happened. And now they're fucked for the rest of their lives. That's insane. That's a bullshit system. That's not the wealthiest country on the planet. That's the worst country. Like, it's crazy how much we have and how much we could afford to do for our citizens, and yet we refuse to do so. It's bullshit. Also,
it cuts off here?
The idea.
Oh, does Christian not say anything? Oh, okay, I guess Christian just like let it hang or whatever. I don't know. Well, wait. Apparently, this wasn't it. Well, hold on. Wait, I'm curious. This other one says Hasan has a heated debate. Part 1? Hold on. Was this the trans thing? Top recommended. My relatively viral ranking all Five Nights at Freddy's jump scares video. Very good, very good.
It doesn't matter. You would never in a million fucking... There are cis women that look like that. 100%. 1000%. You would never... Everyone's going to get into fucking clock mode right now and be like, I'm clocking. But ultimately, there are cisgender women that look exactly like that. And you would never in a million fucking years be like, that's a trans woman, unless that's constantly in your fucking mind. Straight up. Straight up. You would never.
What is this recording? Oh my God.
Why, just like the only reason why you know that this is an issue is because someone made it an issue and presented it to you, and you're conditioned into thinking that this is an issue and it's somehow unfair because trans women are not.
This is totally true, by the way. Like, every time listen, if all you ever have to do, okay, to prove this is find a photo of a regular looking cis woman and go to like any like roast me, like the roast me subreddit, or like TTTT on 4chan, or like any part of the internet that's critical of trans people, and go like, hey, I'm a trans girl, like, do I pass? And that person's photo is going to be obliterated. Okay, you can find someone who looks like Scarlett Johansson, and people will be like, okay, first of all, your jaw looks like a lantern, okay? Your nose is brick-shaped. Your brow is Neanderthalic. Your cheekbones can be seen from orbit. There's no amount of makeup that can hide that stubble. Like, you could throw like any... You could like literally just put any photo there, and they'll be... Like just anything in the world, and they'll say that shit too. So, hey, if you're trans and people roast you for how you look, okay, just remember, they'll say that shit to anyone. Who's that big... titted chick who was the lady in Mad Men? What was the name of that actress? Was it Christina Aguilera? No, that's another person. I don't really pay much attention to this kind of thing. What's the name? Christina Hendrick. There we go. Yeah. Listen. It's simple as day. Okay. You can go to we get an HD photo. Yeah, here we go. Hi guys, I'm 4 years on HRT, and I was wondering, I think I've come a long way. I was wondering how I look. Okay, sweetie. All right. First of all, you're not fooling anyone with that wig. Like, yeah, they'll say anything. So yeah, like, don't, it's the same memes every time.
Women in your mind, and that's fine. That's like, I mean, it's not fine. I don't agree with you on that, but ultimately, this is not a fucking
13,
big deal
video.
In any meaningful capacity. You know
Then
who it is a big deal for?
Big deal.
No, it's a big deal for fucking trans people that get owned non-fucking stop for just being trans. That's who it's a big deal for.
Great,
and I do care about, I care about making sure that they're not like, they already have a lot going on. I care about making sure that we're just not like fucking owning trans people for no reason whatsoever other than
competing against
other than who they are and what they
I
can't
don't
change
own
about
trans
themselves.
women who want to work in the workplace, who want to go shop, but you want to compete against women, yeah, you're gonna get owned.
But you don't care. You admitted that you don't care.
I do care about this issue for sure.
No, you don't. You've
I
never.
do.
I hate that conservatives pretend to care about women's sports. You don't care about women's sports. You've never cared. Conservatives have never cared. The women's sports have been like a decades-long running joke with misogynists in the conservative space. Like, oh, it's funny. Look, women are doing sports, and then suddenly the sanctimony of women's sports is sacred to them. The nanosecond like trans people's existence crosses their mind. You know. There are plenty of naturally beefy cis women with high T that kill in these sports, but nobody bats an eye at them. Well, there's some interesting Olympic history on cis women not being allowed to participate because they have naturally high testosterone levels, but like, yeah, I don't know. Here's the issue, okay? The problem is that it's completely non-falsifiable. Can you guys imagine any situation in which a transgender woman does really well in a sport, beating out cis women, and conservatives go, oh, okay, well, that's fine. Because, like, even if trans women and cis women were physically identical in every way, eventually, a trans woman would, purely through athletic prowess, outperform all the cis women, even if the average starting point was exactly the same. So given that fact, this is a non-falsifiable premise. Any time a trans woman does well, they're going to say it's because they're trans. There's no situation in which they'd go, oh, okay, well, this is purely because they worked hard. It has nothing to do with any other advantages, you know? So there's no point in arguing it. It's completely non-falsifiable premise. There's no situation in which they would concede that point.
You have never spent. Here's my argument. Okay, I think if you are going to talk about trans women competing in a particular sport, like whether it's high school volleyball or whatever, you should be forced, Clockwork Orange style, to watch every single fucking high school division of that sport specifically for the rest of the fucking year that the sport is happening. If you ever talk about it, you should be forced to fucking watch it at gunpoint.
But I could say the same about people who want universal health care, who want universal housing, who have tons of money. Then give your money and help these solutions.
I want to.
What? If you're gonna pretend to care about trans women and women's sports, you should care about women's sports. Okay, well, you should give your money to... All right? It's a destiny argument. I see.
You go fund some homeless people. Go buy them a house. We can do that, but clearly we all don't.
I do want that. I want that.
I mean, not just for you, for every leftist with money. Then go spend.
It's almost like accusations of hypocrisy are meaningless and thrown out there as a way of distracting from actual talking points, and there's no point in ever actually addressing it because it's non-falsifiable, and there's no threshold at which a person would fairly admit that you've done enough to actually talk about the issue people mean to talk about, and this is a complete waste of time.
Eat the minimalist amount of food you can eat, live in the smallest place you can possibly live in, the least expensive place, and give all the rest of your money.
Wow, it's almost like maintaining the expectation that leftists should live like ascetic monks, and anyone who ever wants to improve society therefore has to live at the lowest possible margins while giving every single excess dollar to charities and towards like other systems to improve things is a really unreasonable expectation that's only employed to silence leftists whenever they critique systemic issues. Damn, that's crazy.
To all these different causes. Fund a homeless person to live here. Do it with your money. But
even if I were to do that,
there are people who give like tens of millions of dollars at a time to these causes, and it doesn't do anything. Because only something at the scale, something at the scale of the stage. It's something that can do anything.
Great, but they still can provide with $10 million, tens of millions of dollars, tons of homes for homeless people.
Okay, but if
tons of homes, what? Do you mean like you pay the realtors directly? Like you get into a construction? Yeah, I don't know. Individual charity will never, ever, ever, ever solve systemic issues. It cannot.
If philanthropy was a solution, then why are there homeless people?
Like, in every state. Why is it still
because
such
people
a
aren't doing it.
What, you think people
Do you think people in New York City are not doing philanthropy?
No, they
That's
are.
all they fucking do in Manhattan.
You're telling me there's not leftists in New York who can buy homes for homeless people? Is that what you're telling me?
You're saying like
Couldn't buy homes?
Wow, it's almost like now we've moved this over to the perceived moral consistency of leftists in a way which is unrealistic and has absolutely nothing to do with actual systemic outcomes. And we've removed and the accusation of hypocrisy is being used to completely ameliorate like any like just remove yourself from any chance of discussing any systemic problems. Oh my God.
You know, an individual guy should buy like in $1 million home.
Yeah.
How many
maybe not $1 million, but yeah, with tens of millions of dollars.
How much do you think any home in New York costs?
It doesn't have you have the homeless person.
Engaging with this is really, really dumb. The only thing you can do is apply the standard to them. Hey, do you care about homeless veterans? Yeah. Okay, then why don't you take 20 of them in your house? Don't you have space? Oh, hey, you care about like you care about like well, what do conservatives pretend to care about? You care about like stopping abortion, right? Well, why don't you donate every cent that you have to all anti-abortion organizations? Like, yeah, you could just like, yeah, you do that, you know.
Has to live in New York City, has to live in
You care about a stronger border, don't you? Okay, well, why don't you immediately go join a border defense patrol force right now? Yeah, like just whatever. Like, you know, you can do this. It's a complete fucking waste of time.
No. You
could like you're supposed to like buy them a building in Yonkers and put them on a bus there.
You said basic needs, basic amount of dignity. Buy them a home in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
Buy them a home somewhere else so they can afford the basic amount.
Who's organizing the transport of like the bus of homeless people?
The rich person giving the money.
But what you're talking about already,
you have so much.
But what you're talking about already exists.
Would be done for cheaper, more efficiently by the government.
Yeah, what you're describing already exists.
When you could literally just have the fucking
because I don't want working class Americans paying for it.
But why?
Working class Americans would be the ones to benefit from it, guys. This right here, okay? This is why we need debate bros. Just letting you guys know, okay? However much we might get shit on, okay? I'm just letting you guys know. This is why the elite cast of debate bros are valuable, okay? Again, it's not a diss at anyone here or whatever, you know, different specialties or whatever, but like, oh God, I fucking wish they could land them on some of these.
We already established earlier on that, like, you don't want a homeless person living on the street. You think it's a threat to your security, right? Like, that will literally improve your life. Like, it is going to make your life better, and it's going to make that other person's life better tremendously. And that's what I never understand. It's like a failure somewhere along the like conservative rhetoric and conservative thought process where it's like, you're going to benefit from that homeless person no longer being homeless. You are. That person is not going to live outside of your house anymore. They're not going to have to take a shit and live in the indignity of like having to eat fucking trash every day. And ultimately, we know for a fact that despite the billions of dollars that are given to 501c3s that do exclusively what you're talking about, this problem has not been solved because the problem is, and it will never be solved because the problem is not something that you can individually decide to do. It's what the state is supposed to do. How do I know this? Because the state has done this in other places.
He's completely correct here, of course. And by the way, he's right about like the benefit of ending homelessness. Guys, how much does it cost to educate for free K-12 every American relative to how much additional economic productivity a literate person produces? I mean, like, think about it. Investing in your citizens allows them to be more productive. So every homeless person is a person who is essentially incapable of, or at least not as capable of, contributing to broader social growth for a variety of reasons. But they also disproportionately tax a bunch of services, police, medical care, because of the circumstances they're forced to live in. Give them a house, give them a home, give them a chance to work, give them a chance to live. They're going to be more productive on average, which means that you save money in the long run. And that's just a simple economic argument. My personal belief is that even if they weren't productive, you should still do this because it would make the world a better place, you know? But if we're going to deal with selfish-ass conservatives who are going to bitch and moan about the tax bill that they pay being used to help people rather than fucking drum depleted uranium shells into like insurgents in the Middle East, then okay, sure, we'll go with the econ argument then, since you pretend to care about fiscal responsibility so much.
America is not the only country on the planet. There are plenty of countries in comparable OECD nations where they have a much better outlook on combating homelessness and eradicating it where it stands. And that starts with a housing first policy. And that starts with not shelters, but actually housing the homeless people so they can go on a pathway towards rehabilitating themselves and becoming active members of society if they want to do so. That's just how it works. And I'm giving you how it works and I'm explaining to you how it works, but for some reason you're like, no, let the rich people do it. The rich people are trying to do it. It just doesn't work. It literally doesn't work. Isn't that fucking cliche? Like, madness is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
That's
what
literally
we're doing.
all we've done since the Gilded Age is
Yeah.
these shitty philanthropic organizations that, like, I'm sure you can point to some people individually that they've helped, sure, but it's never going to work to the scale of an actual government policy designed to do this. Like, your entire point.
The smug, silent treatment is a powerful rebuttal, you know, really coming out strong with these counter arguments from Walker over here. Nice.
Right? Is that, like, a liberal billionaire doesn't really give a shit, right?
I mean, not as I'm sure some do give a shit, but I'm sure
You think they mostly? Your point is, like, they mostly don't care, right?
Mostly not. No.
Why would their organizations work then? Like, why would they actually help people to the scale that
Well,
they
if
need
they
to be
don't
helped?
care, just stop trying to make me care. If the people who actually believe in this.
So you
don't
are
care,
ultimately
the
saying you
maximum
don't
amount.
care then. That's what you're saying. But you said you do care earlier. So I'm operating on the basis that you said you care. So I'm talking to someone who cares, not someone who doesn't care.
I don't care to do it your way. I don't care to do it your way.
But
So
your
I'm
way
saying
is
if they're
literally
not-
just doing it the same way. Your way is, like, private philanthropy, or, like, I guess send them on a bus to Dallas, Texas, to, like, live in a house that was built in 2013.
Which, of course, again,
Which is, yeah.
it's not even something that people can do or are doing, and it won't happen regardless. So I'm just saying, we give a fuckload of money to this government. I think, like, it should actually do shit that, you know, normal functioning operating governments do, rather than, like, sit
Do you
around
think we
and
need to
give.
do it by giving more money, or you propose doing it with the current amounts we give?
You're not going to give more money to the government.
I really love how, like, every decade the total amount of taxes proportionally paid to the government goes down and down and down, and the idea of raising taxes is just so, like, unfathomable to people. Okay, it's like, it's incredible. It's like 50 years ago it would be like, you know, oh, you don't want to raise taxes, do you? No, we'll keep it at 40%. And now it's like, oh, you don't want to raise taxes, do you? No, we'll keep it at 20%. Like, no, I will double taxes. I will cripple you. I'll tax you just to make your life worse. I'll burn the money. I'll have increase taxes on the 1% and then just have the IRS burn the money when they get it, okay? It's about sending a message, all right? Yeah, just take everything. I don't care. The fact of the matter is, okay, this is economy of scale. This is one of the things that governments can do that that nothing else can do. Okay, this is how it works. All right, let's say that there's a basic service that that everyone should have access to, and access to that service increases the productivity and functionality of society, like roads or running water or electricity. In every case, historically, in this country and in others, the government has been the entity which has promoted the development of that infrastructure, these basic utilities that allow modern society to function. Because that initial investment from the government, which corporations generally aren't willing to front because it costs a lot of money up front, ends up generating massive benefits down the line. You know who reap the most from those benefits? Corporations. Corporations set themselves up and they rely on a ton of things that the government provides for them. Police protect private property rights. Roads allow their workers to go to and from the place. The access to electricity, to plumbing, building codes and standards, engineers, you know, like all these institutions prop up the corporations that do work within and even without this country. If they're without this country, they're still benefiting from the money that this country generates through the infrastructure we take advantage of. The government should be able to provide us basic things that make everyone's lives easier and are ubiquitously necessary. And the easiest, simplest, cheapest way to get those things is through taxation and using it on everyone. No means testing, just get it out there, okay? We do this with healthcare. If we raised taxes enough to be able to provide Medicare for all, the average person would save an enormous amount of money paying higher taxes because they would not have to pay for their health care. It's just economy of scale. If you have a gigantic organization that is not profit motivated like the government, willing to front these costs, you save a lot of money in the long run. And that's good. And if people aren't spending money on, like, healthcare, They have more money to spend on other services, which still keeps the economy vitalized. It's just a win-win, but conservatives don't understand economics. This is why conservatives will like be against investing in infrastructure, even though investing in infrastructure makes you so much money down the line. Because fixing a bridge costs 1/10 what repairing a broken bridge costs, you know? The total amount of damage done to vehicles from roads with potholes is massive and very difficult to calculate, but perceived to be massive, along with other infrastructural upkeep failures. But it's like, whatever, you know, like, why spend any money on it? Well, because it makes you money in the long run, or at least it prevents you from spending more money in the long run.
I will give more money to the government, yes, and people that are of my level of wealth and higher will give more money to the government, yes, certainly. And I think that that is fair. Absolutely. I also think that the way I generate my wealth is by income. So I am giving a percentage of all of the amount of revenue that I generate per year back to the government. It's more than 50%, I would say.
Taxes work.
Whereas most wealthy people that...
More than 50%? What bracket would have you at more than 50%? Maybe I'm revealing my ignorance here. Maybe he's part of some secret, extra, special tax bracket I don't know about.
Park all of their income, park all of their wealth in the stock market, don't. They pay an effective tax rate of like 3% to 5%. I'm paying 53% in California. I don't have a problem with that. And I will pay
state
even
tax
more than
included?
that because I'm very fortunate.
So you're happy to
I'm
pay
very
that
lucky.
amount. You see what they're doing with our money right now.
Yeah, as someone who pays a fuckload,
more.
and we have a $44 billion surplus now, and that's only part of the reason why we can even have a discussion about like potential universal health care in the state. I'm an incredibly fortunate person. I can survive. I can live an incredibly comfortable existence. I didn't used to make a lot of money, and I didn't understand it. And I used to believe what the fucking rich people said all the time about like how, oh, the government's taking more of my money. The government's taking more of my money. I'm here to tell you motherfuckers right now in the chat that will never make this amount of money in your entire lives. Every rich person is lying to you. They 100% could easily budget out another 10% of their fucking wealth and their yearly earnings back to the government. They just don't want to do it, okay?
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah. Yes.
Because they want to keep as much money as possible. Partially, they don't want to do it because they think the government is not working for them, or the government rather is not functional, and it's spending the wealth in an unwise capacity. But the real reason is because they just don't care. They don't care if you fucking die. Okay, I'm telling you how it is. As someone who does make a fuckload of money, and as someone who gives a lot of money to the American government every fucking year. Most rich people do not give a shit, and that's why they're not giving more in taxes.
So you're saying you want to give 10% more rather than... You'd rather just give more, keep everything we have, and give more than reform how they're using what you're currently giving.
No, of course I'm going to reform. No, of course I'm going to reform.
Would you rather do that rather than give more?
No, I want to do both. I'm realistically speaking, I see how little capital gains taxes, like how... I see how the truly wealthy, not people like actors, not people like celebrities, not people like doctors. I'm talking like actual fucking wealthy individuals. I see how they get taxed and the way that they get taxed. And I could easily do this too. I could so easily do this. I could just put literally every fucking dime I have in the stock market. That's it. Okay? Like I make I pay taxes on my income. Right now, from what I'm getting in revenue from Twitch.
I feel like the ethical core of this issue isn't being appropriately tackled right now. I want to hear Christian talk some more. You know, I want to hear his contentions with this.
And everywhere else, and then I park all of it after taxes in the stock market, and then let that fucking accumulate every single year, 10%. Oh my lord, and that would be great. Just let it sit. Don't take anything out. Park it. Okay. The way that rich people operate is exactly like that. And it is basically substituting actual taxes that you should be paying to the government to interest rates, if you even are paying any interest rates, to a bank. And it's just money going back and forth between financial structures rather than the actual government that should be adequately funded for whatever the fuck we want to spend it on. I also am not anti revising the way we spend our money. I think we spend an insane amount of money having fucking 300 plus, 400 plus that we know of military bases all around the fucking planet. or we have no business
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Hasan. Please.
being there. Every fact we just do. There's not a second industry. We're gonna give them money, then we give the airliner get the fucking quality, make financial every step of the fucking.
You know what? I should probably stop apologizing for being long-winded. I know that I am, but
Way, and that's the reason why I want or too important. I think we need to revise that. Fuck them, jail them, throw them in fucking jail, kill them with capital punishment if you have to. If that's the way to fucking actually to get anything done. Okay, I don't have a problem with any of this shit, but ultimately, I care about helping people. Sorry for fucking going on a major tangent here, but it is bullshit. Anyway. I hope you understand what I'm saying, and you're at least like listening. But what we're doing right now is not working. Anyway,
I don't even know what the point of that was.
Come on, give me something.
Hold on, there's a part 2 to this. I have to know, because the title is Hasan is a heated debate, and so far it's more of a one-sided convo. I need to know. It goes on for a bit, but like, I'm curious.
Or homosexuality in a way that's disrespectful or whatever, that counts as conversion therapy. It's not literally a camp.
What?
So
what do you mean?
That's the concern.
Do you really think that Canadians are gonna fucking go into people's houses and be like, "Are you talking to your Are you talking to your gay child in a way that makes it seem like fucking you're saying homosexuality is bad? That's conversion therapy. We're gonna fucking throw you in jail. Is that what you think is gonna happen?"
No idea. I don't know if the child's going to be reporting, and
I think this seems a lot like the C-16 bill that Jordan Peterson went famous for, where there was a gross bastardization of the actual legislation in place, and not a single person is going to go to jail over this, and it's actually about real conversion therapy.
Conservatives are the biggest crybabies on the fucking planet, dude. So conversion therapy they're essentially torture camps, okay? Canada bans it, and conservatives are like, oh my God, we're going to be thrown in jail for looking at a gay person and saying, oh, well, being straight can be good too, and then the Canadian police will come and kill me to death. Like they make up the wildest shit. Again, remember, Jordan Peterson did not become famous because of his self-help or philosophy. He became famous by lying about the C-16 bill, saying that he would rather go to jail than succumb to the tyranny of the Canadian police. And then to this day, nobody has gone to jail over it. Nobody. It was completely made up, and now we have to deal with Jordan Peterson because conservatives are that prone to fear.
Therapy, and not parents talking to their child. Notice how it says.
I saw that he tweeted about it. I didn't get to even read the bill.
Yeah. Notice how he's talking about definition of conversion therapy right in front of you. It says, conversion therapy means a practice, treatment, or service designed to change a person's sexual orientation to heterosexual, change a person's gender identity to cisgender, change a person's gender expression so that it confirms the sex assigned to the person at birth, repress or reduce non-heterosexual attraction or sexual behavior.
So repress or reduce. So if I'm talking to you, if you come out as gay and we're simply having a conversation and that makes you feel unsafe, am I producing conversion therapy on you?
This is what I mean exactly. They think they will the most insane. Shut up. No, you can't. You don't think that. Do you really think that? The police are gonna barge it? Like a kid is gonna go up to a cop and be like, "My dad was mean to me," and they're going to arrest you? This is the most psychotic, imaginary shit, in the universe. Please debate this fool, convert all of his Zoomer followers. There is zero chance this guy would ever talk with me. People like this only look smart when they're doing their TikToks. He doesn't look bright right here talking with Hasan. There's no way. Maybe actually he might be dumb enough to think it'd be a good idea. I don't know. Maybe we should look into that. I need to be more aggressive on TikTok.
No, of course not. That would be ridiculous. And not a single person, I'm willing to bet $1 million fucking dollars, not a single person will go to jail for what you just described, unless someone is actively and trying to fucking fail in the most edge case possible. That's the funniest part about the trans issues that we were talking about earlier. It's literally always conservatives faking it just to show that people fake it. It's motherfucker, you're the one who faked it.
Faking the rape case where the guy raped a girl in a school bathroom, transferred schools, raped another girl. That was.
Oh, we went over this. Remember, the guy. This has nothing to do with trans issues. It was a person who raped another student in a bathroom, and people were like, this is because of your trans bathroom allowances. But the rapes happened before the school allowed people to go into the bathroom of the gender they identify as. There's no relationship whatsoever between these rapes and progressive policy of any kind.
Was faking
I
it?
have no idea what you're talking about, but that's rape and that's illegal regardless. There's no fucking like, oh, I'm trans, so then.
Well, the guy
people...
was trans, so.
Okay, but that's
penis
ridiculous.
Was raping girls. I don't notice.
But that's
many
illegal.
Women. Yeah,
Christian, that's illegal. That's like that doesn't.
Also, what the fuck does this have to do with conversion therapy? Like, conservatives lie about the story anyway, but even if the story was true, even if this was an instance of a trans woman, like, going into a woman's restroom and raping a cis woman, which isn't what happened in this case, but, like, what does that have to do with... What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
It doesn't matter if you're trans or not. That's just fucking rape. That's illegal.
But you said our concerns with the trans issue.
No, that person is a rapist.
Made up. No, that
What?
it's not made up.
That person is not a rapist. That person is not a rapist because they're
What?
trans. That person is a rapist because they're a rapist.
Yes, and had the person with the penis not been in women's locker rooms, doubt those girls would have been raped in the locker room.
That is
The rape took place, if I remember correctly, off of school time anyway. Like, it wasn't even during regular school hours. Like, I know this must be very scary to conservatives, but people who identify as men can actually walk into women's bathrooms to commit sexual assault anyway. You realize, like, rape is illegal, so the illegality of walking into a woman's restroom as a guy is relatively trivial, you know? I don't think anyone's out there thinking, like, I sure could do some raping right now. Oh, but entering the wrong restroom, that's going too far. This is like the most made-up shit in the universe. And of course, there's no data suggesting that allowing trans women to enter women's restrooms leads to more sexual assault. It actually does the opposite, because a lot of trans women, you're never going to guess, look like women. So when you force them to use a men's restroom, that actually does cause antagonism, ostracization, and sometimes sexual harassment or assault. So it is a preventative measure with regards to that. But like Christian Walker is off on like 8 points right now. Like, not only is he lying about the facts of this incident, but like it has nothing to do with what they're talking about, and he's misrepresenting the thing that he's lying about. Like he's not even being wrong, right? Jesus.
Insane take. The 99.9% of trans people are not going around raping. You're like talking about one fucking person.
It's just one. Just forget it. So it's not a concern. It's just one.
No, it's not.
Most intelligent conservative.
That's a separate concern. That's a separate concern.
It's not a concern when they counted him as being trans simply because he said and identified as being
But it doesn't
trans.
matter.
Wait, what does that mean? They still got busted for rape. Wait, what is that? Who cares? It's not like the judge goes like, "Oh, you did a rape. Oh, wait, you're trans? Well, never mind." Like, what? What is that? It's if it's rape, it's rape. It's still illegal. What do you mean?
That doesn't matter because the offending sensibility there is the violation of the law. There is not him fucking faking being trans. It's him being a rapist. That like, what do you mean? There's no like get out of jail free card because he was. Did he get out of jail?
He raped one girl. They smothered the reports. He transferred to another school, raped another girl. So,
and that never happens to cis men, guys. Just so you know, I'm pretty sure this person literally like identified as a cis guy at the time of the first rape. But like, guys, just so you know, that never happens to cis men. Okay, this is something that only happens to trans people. Okay, people are very willing to cover up for trans people when they do bad things, but when cis men do bad things, nobody does that.
Okay,
yeah,
I don't even know the details of the story.
Raped,
I don't know the details of the story, but it doesn't matter ultimately. That is quite literally a person who violated the law. You can't like rob a bank and be like, I'm trans, and then they're like, okay, I guess we're gonna let you go. It doesn't work that way. And
except
especially
in California,
what you are engaging in is something that has been used towards black people regularly, and still to this day is used towards black people. Something used towards gay people regularly.
Yeah, it's a lot different than men going into women's restrooms.
No, it's like it's literally pointing to someone and being like, that person is violent because they're black. It's different than that person is violent because they're violent and engaged in a fucking violent action.
In the women's locker room with a penis because they said they were a woman and were allowed to go in.
That is not the idea that like a person who's a serial rapist only was able to rape because they were able to go into a women's locker room is insane.
Of course not. But
Like, you think that's the reason? You think that's the
But
only...
do we just say, hey, just let him in because, like, it could have...
The incisive question is this, Hasan. Do you have evidence that allowing trans women into women's spaces increases the amount of sexual assault? And if so, do you have any study or data pointing to that? No? Oh, then shut the fuck up. Moving on. Facts over feelings.
Those cases could have been prevented if he was not in the locker room.
Also,
You think he wouldn't have raped someone?
Yeah, wait, like cis men rape in locker room. What? If only they hadn't deactivated the anti-penis force field in the locker room. If only the sophisticated biometric equipment that they use to instantly incinerate people who have a Y chromosome hadn't been shut off due to woke blue-haired SJW college faculty beforehand. This could have been prevented. What are you talking about? Jesus.
Don't know. Those 2 girls wouldn't have been raped.
Don't
And those are the 2
know.
we know of that he raped.
you don't
Both
even
in the
know
locker
that, by
room.
the way. You have no idea.
Yeah, we have
that-
no idea if he raped anyone else.
No, I'm saying, like, you don't even know that it, like, is specific to him being able to be inside of a locker room. Like, that's you don't stop sexual assaults from happening by saying that
I totally get
someone
what
who
you're
identifies
saying.
as trans can't be in women's locker rooms.
You're 100%
Like-
dead on. Those 2 cases and those girls who are now traumatized would not have been raped in the locker room by him.
Okay,
if he
so
was
they
not
would
in the
have
locker room.
Okay. But I can't believe people say that. Look at this face. Oh my god. My homophobia is rising, peaking right now. Holy shit. Guys, I'm giving all the straights out there permission, okay? You could listen, okay? Being gay doesn't make making that face in this instance acceptable, okay? Listen, I'm just letting you know, okay? You can react to this exactly as if it was like Ben Shapiro making a smug face. I know. I'm just saying. I know a lot of you guys are like, "Oh, that's just a gay thing. This is just what happens to your face when your ass gets stretched by dick." And that is true, but that doesn't mean you can't give them a hard time over it, okay? I'm just going to assume that this guy's a bottom because I'm not an idiot and I have eyes and ears. That's just an assumption I'm going to make.
What you are failing to understand, I think, or actually, it seems like you do understand my point, is that
You're saying he could have raped them outside behind the...
yeah, of course, that
behind
person's
the-
a rapist. That's separate. Trying to desperately take an example of someone behaving in a criminal capacity and in a rapist, and then talking about their potential, their potential for being trans or not, is insane. It's the same as saying gay men are pedophiles.
I didn't think he raped them
It's the same as
because
like
he
saying
was
black men are
trans,
violent.
though.
It's literally the same shit. It doesn't matter. You're trying to get other people, and especially a lot of other people.
What was the state this happened in again? I just want to refresher on this really quickly. What was the state this happened in again? Was it Virginia? Hopefully just typing the state name is sufficient. Here we go, New York Times. The right's big lie about a sexual assault in Virginia. This is the story about how the right twisted a sexual assault of a teenager into culture war fantasy. It's how a distorted tale on a conservative website became grist for a nationwide moral panic. Hold on. Let me try to get to the content of the thing. Okay, hold on. Loudoun County Public Schools covered up the rape of a 14-year-old girl at the hands of a boy wearing a skirt in order to pass a school policy the Democrats were adamant about passing. As a result of that cover-up, Rosiak said, a second girl was allegedly attacked. And to prevent all this from coming out potentially, they arrested the father of the victim. Not surprisingly, this story ricocheted around the right. The narrative was irresistible, but they were completely wrong. Yeah, what's the thing? Hold on. The boy was indeed wearing a skirt, but that skirt didn't authorize him to use the girls' bathroom. As Amanda Turco reported in HuffPost, the school district's trans-inclusive bathroom policies were approved only in August, more than 2 months after the assault. Yeah, conservatives tried to make this about, like, trans bathroom bills, letting trans women share the bathroom with cis women or whatever. I don't think this person even identified as trans. I think they were literally just wearing a skirt. I don't even know if this person was trans. The article refers to them as a boy. I think they were literally just wearing a skirt. Like the conservatives are projecting hardcore. I think it's literally just a guy in a skirt. Like, I don't know. Anyway, the trans inclusive bathroom policy was approved after the assault happened. There's no relationship. There's no correlation. There's literally no relationship whatsoever. They're non-binary from what I remember. Like, okay, but there's like no relationship here at all. It's completely made up. But conservatives have been lying about this for ages. I don't blame Hasan for not being familiar with the details of the case, but oh my God, can you imagine if he was fully familiar and he could just call Christian out for like lying about this? Oh my God. Chat linked an article about it on stream later and Hasan owned him about it. Oh God, I hope this happens. I hope that happens in this video. Let me see.
Purposely are doing this, and I don't know if you're purposely doing this or not, but a lot of people do this on purpose. They did it for gay people, and they said gay men are pedophiles. NAMBLA is a gay thing, that like pedophilia is a sexuality, and they did this, and they still continue to do this for black men in general, where they say black men are violent, they're aggressors. That person is doing this because they're black, and constantly and routinely play up that role when it has nothing to do with it. It's just that person did a crime. Crimes in 90% of the circumstances are a consequence of your material conditions, your upbringing.
Oh,
and
he raped
you
them
are.
because of material position.
No, I can't speak for that individual in most, but in the 10% of instances, and this is not an exact fucking number that I'm giving you, there's also antisocial personality disorders that we still currently, with our level of medical knowledge, cannot treat or cure. There is also that as well. I'm not saying that it's just because like people are doing it because they're fucking born into a shitty situation. There are obviously other instances as well. But no matter what we're talking about, that person being trans or not being trans did not play a role in this whatsoever. You cannot legislate like trans women using the women's restroom by saying there's one person who did a rape and they said they were trans, and that's why, like, we can't have trans women in women's restrooms.
No, but you said we only our concerns about trans issues are totally, outlandish. So I just
he can't fathom. Okay, he can't fathom the idea that it is possible for any trans person to ever do any bad thing does not mean your concerns are warranted. Okay. The point that you have to prove is that trans people would commit a more than average amount of rape or sexual assault. Trans people, being people, are going to contribute to some negative social trends like every other group of people. It's like, literally, this is like the equivalent of this would literally be like Christian Walker holding like water for white supremacists saying black people are naturally violent. And Christian Walker's like, well, you say that our concerns about black people are unfounded, but if you take a look at this news article, a black guy did a crime in 2017. Like, I know that sounds really dumb, but that is actually logically an equivalent of the argument that he's making right now. That is actually the equivalent. That is directly one-to-one, as intelligent and as logically consistent as the point that he's making right now.
Using a recent example that happened. That I was just bringing that up.
So you just like randomly brought up an instance where someone claimed to be trans and then did two
I don't know
rapes.
if he claimed, if he actually genuinely believed it. I don't know what the issue was, but Reason.com says conservatives wrongly portray the Loudoun County sexual assault as a transgender bathroom issue. The perpetrator did not target a random student, and he did not choose the girls' bathroom because of his gender identity. In June, a male student with a skirt reportedly... This is Reason.com. This is a libertarian outlet, for the record. In June, a male student in a skirt reportedly assaulted a female classmate in a public bathroom in Loudoun County, Virginia. It was a story that appeared to confirm conservative media's worst fears about how predatory men could theoretically take advantage of accommodations for transgender people in order to harm young girls. And it touched off a wave of protests, with the victim's father, Scott Smith, at the center of them. But it was substantially misreported in order to fit a conservative social agenda. Anyone on the right makes a habit of complaining, often justifiably, about the mainstream media gullibly succumbing to viral stories that fits their priors ought to denounce this as well. Smith, the father, was arrested for loudly protesting at the school board meeting. Cops bloodied him, placed him in handcuffs, and charged him with obstruction of justice and disorderly conduct. When it later emerged that Smith was angry with district officials because he thought they weren't doing anything about his daughter's rape, he became a conservative folk hero and was interviewed repeatedly by right-leaning media. The Daily Wire led the charge,
seizing on an opportunity to embarrass both the mainstream media and federal government for portraying hostile parents as akin to domestic terrorists. The Daily Wire's interview with Smith portrayed the idea that the daughter's assailant was gender fluid as central to the story. The implicit idea is that the perpetrator wore a skirt in order to gain access to the women's bathroom at the Stonebridge High School and carry out the attack. Over the summer, Loudoun County approved a new policy making it easier for trans individuals to use the bathroom of their choice, and thus a connection was established between this policy and what happened to Smith's daughter. The policy wasn't actually implemented until August, it turns out. But even if the school had begun enforcing it before that, there's no reason to think that the assailant's actions had anything to do with the accommodations for trans people. So this event actually took place before they even created that policy. So once
I have no idea what Christian Walker is going to respond with here. I'm at a loss. I have no... my guess is she's just going to walk past it. Like, he'll just shrug and go like, oh, whatever. It probably still happens. That's my guess, I think.
again, this was a person who wanted to fucking rape a woman, or rape or assault. It doesn't say rape. I don't know if this is sexual assault, but assault a female student. And conservatives took that and fucking post hoc made this association that like it was actually about the fucking gender bathroom policies. And this happens all the fucking time. And that's because the assailant and the victim had a relationship and met in the bathroom for sexual activity previously. On Monday, the teenage victim of the Stonebridge assault testified that she and her attacker had agreed to meet up in a school bathroom on a date of the assault. She testified they had not explicitly discussed having sex beforehand. The teen testified as she arrived first and chosen to go to the girls' bathroom because the two always had met in the girls' bathrooms in the past. When the boy arrived, the teen testified he came into the handicapped stall she was in and locked the door. The two talked before the girl testified, and the boy began grabbing her neck and other parts of her body in a sexual manner. She testified she told the attacker she was not in the mood for sex, but he forced himself on her. Okay, it was sexual assault.
That doesn't count as rape. That's rape.
No, that is, yeah. I said it was sexual assault. Because it originally said assault, so I didn't know if that was the details or not. But it 100% was. He flipped me over. I was on the ground, couldn't move, and he sexually assaulted me. This has absolutely nothing to do with the person being potentially gender fluid or anything like that. This is a person that didn't even have access into a women's restroom specifically because they were gender fluid or anything like that. This happened prior to that actual incident. This happened prior to that actual fucking situation, and it completely, once again, it proves the point I was making, which is that like that's a rapist. That is a person who did a rape. Okay.
The funny thing is that just like mathematically speaking, there probably have been cases by now of trans people using their gender identity to get away with sexual assault or rape, right? Like some kind of Jennifer Unive type situation that turned into like assault or whatever. Like just mathematically with millions of people, you know, eventually that will happen. Anything bad will happen, you know. But like this must happen so infrequently that conservatives can't find a real instance. Like, isn't that interesting? They're so concerned about this, but they have to make up stories of it happening, right? Like it mathematically, it probably has happened, but it's so infrequent they can't even find a good, like, real thing to complain about. And even if they did, of course, that doesn't mean that it's proportionally an issue. Every demographic of people, unfortunately, has the potential to commit sexual assault. They would have to prove it's some sort of unique, disproportionate threat, you know. But I'm just saying, like, it's so infrequent. They can't even find like anything real to complain about. It's ridiculous. Oh, and by the way, conservatives don't give a fuck about like girls getting raped. Zero. If they did, they wouldn't have elected Trump. The shit with Roy Moore. Okay, zero. They don't give a fuck. The only reason they gave a fuck about this case, okay, is because they thought they could pin it on like trans people or whatever. All right, they do not give a single shit. If their indifference towards like the abuse of children or women or whatever is legendary. Okay, they do not give a shit unless they can use it against a minority group. They only gave a fuck about rape back in the day when they can use it to lynch black men. They only give a fuck about rape now if they can use it to attack Muslim rape gangs or trans people, all right? That is the only time conservatives ever give a fuck about sexual assault, toxic masculinity, when they complain about the Muslim rape gangs or whatever, any of that shit. It's the only time they pretend to care.
That has nothing to do with them being gender fluid.
They will never
or
talk
being
about
able to
this
gain
outside of
access
that.
into a bathroom or not.
Yeah, and like most rapes are like between two people who know each other, right?
Exactly.
Meaning that like, yeah, you're saying like, oh, this is a girl that wouldn't have been raped if there wasn't this bathroom thing. But this like interrelationship rape, like he could have done it in a fucking bedroom. He could have done it in a fucking anywhere. He could have done it in an alley. The point was that he knew the victim and like unfortunately did something fucking horrible to her. But the fact that it's a bathroom, like he's still a rapist.
Yeah.
Regardless.
And the main problem is the rape in that situation. And except conservatives will use stories like this to say trans bathroom bills are bad, and they will push for more legislation on fucking random bullshit that literally impacts zero fucking individuals. Like, it just makes like 5 trans students' lives worse. Okay, that's it. And it further justifies them getting fucking absolutely owned by all of their classmates non-fucking stop for just being trans. And it has like no genuine material impact any other way. But and conservatives will advocate for this agenda rather than like actual fucking bills that would combat sexual assault in any meaningful capacity. If conservatives truly cared about fucking rapes and raping of women, they would stop raping women when they fucking do it at all of their goddamn parties whenever the fuck they get together. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
I think there are better examples he could pull from here, like talk about like the systemic things that lead to like disproportionate rape, you know? Because I'm pretty sure like elite Democrats are raping plenty of people too, you know, Weinstein shit or whatever. But like, yeah,
it's like talking about fucking Brock Turner on the one hand and saying like that's actually it's good, the justice was served. Or talking about the numerous other instances where people straight up get away with fucking rape, and then holding this one issue up. It's the exact same energy as saying I care about fucking women's sports and the sanctity and the integrity of women's sports. And when I tell you,
guys, I'm so sorry. Please don't interpret this as a sign of disrespect.
you like, okay, able to fucking
compete in this.
Oh, okay, he does talk soon.
and they get
Okay.
more money as a consequence of that. You say, no, I still don't want trans people to fucking
No, I said I cared about the
participate.
equality of opportunity to compete in the sport. To compete in the sport.
So, just rhetorically, one of the big faults here is that because Hasan keeps talking, he doesn't ever force Christian to own up to anything, you know? Like, if you make a good point, like, you have to give them, you have to let them stew on that. Like, you have to hold them to that. But if you keep going and talking about, like, all the other stuff, then it's like, well, now Christian gets to talk about this new thing and basically, like run away from any obligation to address the earlier point, like the fact that Christian was lying about this event and it had nothing to do with anything. And even if the event was as Christian described, it still wouldn't prove his point. Like, he's wrong on so many levels here.
It doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. It's just like it's just trying to justify
Massage.
why.
Oh god, I'm so sorry. I hear the cats. 1 second. Yeah? I thought Pigeon was being bullied, but nope, just standing there alone in the hallway, staring at me as I walked in. Vosh, would you consider this a debate? I don't know. I guess kind of. It feels like more of an argument. There doesn't feel like much structure to the points that are being gone over. It feels like a combative conversation. I don't know if there's a hard line between those two, though. You could call it a debate, I guess. Yeah, probably, you know. Colloquially, at least.
Why you feel a certain way that you do about trans people. And look, and this is something I do. This is something I talk about all the time. Okay, like I used to have transphobic opinions. Like, I've said some transphobic shit in the past, right? And I get it. Like, we grow up in this rigid binary understanding of gender. Every facet of our lives tells us that, like, your sexuality and your sex, your sex that you're assigned at birth is the most important thing. If you're a man, you get fucking a certain set of toys. If you're a boy, you get a certain set of toys. If you're a girl, you get a certain set of toys. And that's unchanging. And you have to fit that rigid binary, right? So when someone comes along and says, actually, everything you knew about yourself and everything you knew about how the world operates is fucking wrong, actually, this is how it works, then that breaks your fucking brain. That's precisely why so many trans people it's phobic when they're like literally, and it's like, okay, so you can and they actually share bathrooms. People to exist.
Barbies, you can whatever, you're not a woman.
Like, go away.
Nope,
and
you can totally exist, you can play with Barbies, you can whatever, you're not a woman.
see, but that's what I'm saying. But that's where it comes from. Like, it just still comes down to,
And if
trans
you
women
think
are
it's
not
a
women.
woman, that's great. You're a trans woman, you're not a woman. That's why you have a trans in front of your name, because you're not a woman.
Are tall women not are white women not women because they're white? I didn't realize an adjective invalidated the noun that the adjective was describing. So if you're like, this is a large rock, it stops being a rock. And it's just a large rock, but not a rock. Interesting.
A woman.
I mean, they're still women. Trans women are still
you're a
women.
trans woman. Or you wouldn't be called a trans woman. You'd be called a woman.
I mean, but they are. Trans
then
women
why
are
call
called.
a trans woman? Then what's a woman? What is a
The
woman?
distinction between
we still
trans
have not
women
gotten to
and
the definition, so maybe we should hear from them what they think.
Okay.
Oh God, my debate bro senses are tingling. God, I wish I was there. I know it's impossible, but holy shit. I wish I was some kind of like Marvel versus Capcom like tag in ultimate move that people who don't have a good answer to like a debate question can like hit like the 3/4 rotation like BBA like upright left like block, and then like I just fucking crash through the wall and like tag in or something, you know, like a hyper combo. Yeah.
we'll watch, but
Not
again,
considering-
like after that entire conversation, you're still going back
Nope.
to like trans women are
Because you
not
took
women.
it to they can't exist in society or whatever.
Here.
You're welcome to
look.
exist in society.
Like, do you think that? I mean, this person, like, here, I use this example as well, but like, here, there you go, like would you?
Womanhood isn't based on
Would you?
what you
Okay,
look
would you
like.
consider this? Okay, but like, would you consider this person a man? Would you say that's a man when you?
Oh,
like,
dear.
let's say you're at a fucking bar, okay?
Looks like a woman.
This person-
I'm sure we'd have so fun at lunch.
Okay, hold on.
shopping.
But like,
Great.
listen. You know where I'm going with this. You've had this conversation before with other people. You see this person at a bar, okay? They have a yellow jacket on, okay? You need to point them out to your friend. Do you say that man with the yellow jacket?
But I call trans people, I call them she, her. I don't go into the neo pronouns, whatever, but I'll either call them their name, their chosen name, or, I mean, I would call her a she. Like, I'm not at
Okay,
that
so you
point,
get it.
so I would say that, but
So you get it.
I don't think you're a real woman, no.
So you don't think she's a real woman?
No,
This
I
person
don't.
is.
No, I don't.
Okay. And the reason for that is what? Because like the gender that they were assigned at birth.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what to tell you then. Like this is not a metric that you would abide by for any other circumstance. You would just, when someone tells you, when I told you my name is Hasan, you didn't assume, no, he's probably lying to me. His name is Jonathan. I'm gonna fucking call him Jonathan. You were like, no, that's
But I
Hasan.
don't think it's something you can choose. That's the difference. I don't think you get to choose your gender. So.
But like this, but you also understand that this person quite literally is a woman, and you would abide by that.
Quite literally, no.
Unless
they
they-
transitioned into.
Okay,
being
but
you're
like you
trans
understand that as a woman.
I'm going to kill myself. Oh God, this is what the Socratic method was for. This is what the Socratic method was for. I know people think it's a sneaky debate tactic, even though it's like the most ancient strategy of uncovering truth in the universe or whatever. But fucking like, oh man, this is why I run down the Socratic method. What is a woman? You know, but what is a woman? Well, a woman is a person with XX chromosomes. But then you point out that there are people who are cis women who don't have XX chromosomes. XXY chromosomes or other chromosomal abnormalities. There are intersex people who either do or don't have surgery at the beginning of their life, spend their entire lives thinking that they're a completely ordinary cis woman, and then it turns out that they're not, you know. Like, so are they not women? It's like, okay, well, you know, okay, women are like mostly XX chromosomes then. Okay, well, like, if it's mostly women with XX chromosomes, and there are other women who don't have XX chromosomes, then trans women can be women who have XY chromosomes, mostly, you know. Then they're like, well, no, well, that's still not it because they're men. Okay, well, what's a man? Like, you can run them down that. The situation is, okay, the Socratic method really is the ultimate debate bro move, and you guys know this because you've watched my stream. If I start asking people questions like that, but why, I've already won the debate, okay? It means I've already hit them on a point. I know they don't have the education or intelligence to, like, properly ground at its basis. A conservative will never be able to ground something in like a sociological or like moral foundation because they don't think that way. They think in highly essentialist terms and they don't engage in introspection, you know. If I start doing that, like, it's only a matter of time. When I start asking people why over and over again, I've basically like lit the fuse, and you can just watch the timer until they get mad and rage quit in non-compete's case, or until they get confused and rage quit in other people's cases, or like whatever. It's over, okay? It's like the 5-finger death punch. Like, it just takes a moment for their heartbeat to stop. Anyway, like, yeah, I just wish they could run down that, you know, because it's the only way to really cut through the definition game conservatives play when they're like, well, a woman is an adult human female. You have to really break down definitions and get at the abstractions there. The fact that like definitions are really always going to be kind of conditional, right? I mean, it's you never really have like a very rarely is there a definition that perfectly encompasses like the entirety of the concept. Remember Vsauce's video on what a chair is? Like, that's the point. Like, definitions are useful when they're useful, but they're always going to be, you know, variable. It's difficult to work around that.
Woman. Like, you would point to them and say that's a woman.
I wouldn't, because of how they look, even though how you look does not determine whether you're a man or a woman.
Well,
I determine how I perceive you, but just because I perceive you that way doesn't mean you're literally that. So
I think there's a breakdown in what we're talking about, because like you literally understand that we make determinations on like what we think people are by looking at them, and the context clues in this circumstance absolutely fit that. And everyone would look at you like you're a crazy person if you were like, that man over there is wearing a fucking yellow jacket. You know what I mean? Everyone would look at you like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The problem right now is that while Hasan's argument is useful in some respects, it would also apply to a cross-dresser. If you had a cis man who identified as a man who cross-dressed out, right now Hasan's argument would be equally applicable to that person, you know? But any reasonable person would go like, okay, well, they're a cross-dresser, but like that doesn't make them a woman. And they would agree because they identify as a man, even if they look like a woman, and even if in public it would be more convenient to refer to them as a woman because they look more like one. Like, yeah, the issue, yeah, it's really difficult to tackle that. You know, you have to get down to the definitional foundations, I think, to get them at this.
There's no man there, right? And
but
the reason
just like,
for that
okay,
is because
the Kardashians one time dressed themselves up as old people and went on a tour, and they seriously looked like old people. The makeup, they were presenting as old people. They weren't 70 years old. They looked like old people. Anyone would have thought Chloe was a grandma. Chloe wasn't a grandma. She wasn't a 70-year-old woman, even though she looked just like one. So no, if I was a random person on the street, I would have said, "Oh, look at that Jenny. She looks like she's 70. She's totally old. She's a elderly person."
I mean, there's hella.
That doesn't mean they are.
Okay, but there's like Andy Milonakis is a great example of this. Like, there are people with genetic conditions, for example, that quite literally do not look like.
This doesn't address the core like point that's being made right here at all. The issue is like most conservatives, Christian Walker has a biologically essentialist view of gender. That gender and sex are the same thing, and women are people who are born female, and men are people who are born male. None of these talking points are going to unroot that, because from Christian's worldview, the points that he's making are correct. No, a person looking like a woman doesn't make them a woman. No, a person being more convenient to refer to in public as a woman does not make them a woman. No, a person and none of those address the heart of the problem there. So again, like, you have to get back to that definition game.
That feeds into my point. That feeds into my point. Just because
not.
You look that way doesn't mean you're actually that. So just because Chloe looked old didn't make her old. Just because this person looks old doesn't make them old. Just because you look like a woman doesn't make you a woman.
The age and the circumstance is not a changeable factor about yourself.
Just
that
like
is
your
like
gender.
No. What I'm saying is we use context clues, and when someone says like, I'm actually 30 years old, you're wrong, then that's fine. You say they're 30 years old. You don't turn to Andy Milonakis and go, no, I'm sorry, you're not actually 30 years old. You're 13.
But that's just like when Chloe dressed up as an old woman. She could have told anyone, I'm 65, I'm 70, and they would have been like, oh, cool. She's not 65 or 70.
Okay, but the difference is, I know, but the difference is like this person is a trans woman. And
she's a trans woman.
And therefore a woman.
Therefore,
so you saying like, oh, well, technically when they were born, it's like different, doesn't change that reality, especially because that's not the same standard that you would apply to like women before they get their first period. Or intersex women that you had no idea were intersex.
I totally think she's a trans woman. I think there's a difference between a trans woman and a woman. You're not a woman. You're a trans woman.
Also, one is a measurement of universal.
You guys get what I mean, right? I hope you guys don't think I'm being pedantic. Again, my goal here is not to epically criticize Hasan or whatever, but I think it's important to understand the appropriate framework from which to discuss these issues, because I think that I think right now, like any conservative watching this, not only would they not change their mind, they would be completely unchallenged, you know? Like this would all be stuff they've heard before, like, you know, like they have intuitive responses to the points that Hasan's bringing up right now, you know?
The understood measurement of time versus the other is gender, which you and I both understand is greatly dependent on social context.
Well, Christian Walker doesn't
Like a
think that.
universally applied measurement of time is not the same as social context that we absolutely need. That changes from society to society. That has changed throughout time.
He wouldn't
the
think
difference. Like,
right?
Anyway, ultimately, I think you and I still agree that that like this person is still a trans woman and therefore
sure.
a woman.
Oh no.
But
Trans woman, yes.
So like what? When your mom goes through menopause, like she's not a woman, you're gonna call her something different because like she no longer has the reproductive capability.
No, you have to ask what a woman is first before you can do that. You have to make them establish the premises first so you can deconstruct them. If you deconstruct premises before you ask them, they worm their way into whatever you haven't already addressed.
Women that have like conditions where they can't have where they can't reproduce are not women. No, like that's not. You
When
never.
did the period
You don't
come
control
into it? It
people's
has
like
nothing to do with
pussies.
period.
Well,
Has
we're
nothing
talking
to
about
do
the
with
reproductive
period.
capabilities. Like
No, it has nothing to do. There's lots of women that can't reproduce. No.
Okay,
They
so
still have certain chromosomes.
so wait,
and they
are
still...
trans people? So then trans people that actually got bottom surgery, then they're women, or no? They're still not women.
No, that's not. It's a fake.
Ask
it's a
him
fake vagina. So no.
What
it's
makes a
not.
woman?
Okay. Again, I guess I'm failing to understand this because like you are not applying to the same universe. You are not applying universal standards that you yourself claim to admit exist, or that you claim.
So far, Christian Walker has been consistent here in this conversation on this issue. You know, Christian Walker's position on this has been consistent. He hasn't had to deviate from anything or say anything incorrect from his perspective here.
Exists
Like what?
on womanhood.
I
You
asked
say-
you to define
you
woman.
say-
I never define.
I mean, it's
woman.
like it's
It's insane
well-
because I said it's a trans woman and y'all are demanding
Whoa,
that that's
no,
a
no,
woman.
I mean, she's a trans woman.
Well,
Y'all are
a trans woman.
demanding that
It's like it is
the
like
same as a biological woman. It's not the same.
right. Well, it's impossible to like get to like to make a logical proof.
Yeah,
one way or the
it's-
other that would like.
So I'm
that
happy
would,
to
But there is-
go
but there is-
trans-
Or you could say, yes, of course, trans and cis women are different. That's why there are different adjectives describing them, like tall women and short women, or big booby and little booby women, or etc., that viral clip of mine.
But
that
there
would
is
get
not
you. That would get you there because like the only reason you would say this is just to be like purely antagonistic. Because like it doesn't
Because
apply,
there's a
it doesn't
truth
hold on.
to it.
Because it doesn't apply to anything in your life. What are you like? Are you were going to knock a woman up, but you're going to get fooled by a trans woman? Like,
No, it's just about
it has no
biological
application.
truth. It's just about standing for the truth.
Why aren't they addressing the prior there? Why not ask, well, what is a woman, and then break down those? There's no category for biological gender essentialism that can't be deconstructed. Everything from size to strength to androgen sensitivity to hormones to breast tissue to genitalia, even because of intersex people, to chromosomes themselves can be challenged from their mode. This is an unlosable debate if you're familiar with the. They're not a debater. Well, I understand that. Maybe the reason why I'm saying this the way that I am is because I feel like I have to constantly defend the validity of what I do, but I always defend the validity of what like Hasan does, you know? Like people on the left are always like, oh, debate bros with their rhetorical tricks don't mean anything, you know? Like I feel like I always have to be on the defense arguing in favor of the idea that being able to make good arguments is important, but like I can recognize that being able to like just chill on stream and be like a cool lefty dude bro is important, you know? Like I can recognize the value of diversity of tactics, but I can hear people like I'm imagining like everyone on Twitter getting mad at me right now, like, oh, look at Vash trying to make Hasan worse into him. Like, well, I do think it's important to, you know, train him. I will say this, and this is offered simultaneously with the knowledge that it will never happen for a variety of reasons, and also like understanding that it comes off as kind of clout seeking. But I do mean this sincerely with like no like scorn or whatever. But like I would enjoy very much being able to talk with him on maybe we can just say this issue in particular, you know, like just say like trans issues or whatever. I think that'd be fun. I know it'll never happen, but like I think that'd be cool. You know, Hasan has an unimaginably large platform, and if I could get him to wield these arguments with my effectiveness, it would be like a multiplicatively effective compared to me doing it. You know what I mean? Like him employing those arguments, like this debate between him and Christian Walker is going to be seen by like probably millions of people in the long run, right? But like having those arguments exposed to such a large audience, like so many people could come away from that going, like, oh my God, I have like the Infinity Stones against transphobia. Like I can fucking destroy biological essentialism, you know? Oh God, but it's not going to happen. Yeah, I don't think it'll happen though. Hasan won't because he's scared of having to admit he's not good at you. He won't for a number of reasons, but also because he's a grown ass man and he doesn't have to like give his time or attention to any like random dude who wants to. Plenty of people email me offering to like educate me on subjects, and I say no to a lot of them. I'm not going to fault him for doing the same thing that I do, you know.
It straight up comes back to the fucking
literally just
women's competition shit. Yeah, exactly. It's
right.
it's a women's competition
so it's
shit.
like no logical proof could like get you along the other way. Like you're just going to say that because that's just the position you're at. Nothing else could make you like not say that. It's the same thing with like why you love Israel. Like it has no application to your life, but it's something you've decided that you'd like to
care about.
You like to say as like part of a performance.
No, just like people getting bombed in other countries doesn't affect me, but I don't want to bomb people in other countries.
Yeah,
So
one
it's an
is
issue I
stopping.
care.
Is the implication there? Is the implication there that support for trans people is performative? I don't know what Felix is going on about. I don't know how high he is.
One is stopping additional harm from occurring, whereas this one you can't really pinpoint a singular piece of harm that has actually happened, which is precisely why you rely on
just
like
standing for
you
truth,
rely on
just not-
no, but
not a
that's but
woman.
hold on. You rely on media reports that are completely bastardized to develop a narrative that trans people existing are somehow a negative to society or they're a burden to
Never
society.
said that, just said they weren't women.
I know, but you brought up the fucking Loudoun County example.
Yeah, 'cause
that
it's
was
an example, but just-
but it wasn't an example as we found
It
out.
wasn't an example for what I was saying, but it's still
It's another example of what?
stands that a trans woman.
Okay, but
It wasn't according
all
to
I'm
that
simply
article.
asking for you is to examine why you constantly are seeking out this sort of information to form a particular narrative, and whether or not that is like in any meaningful capacity like doing something good on the planet. I personally don't think so.
Again,
I think like
won't-
seeking.
Why does it look like Matt Walsh's lips are trying to escape his body? It's like the beard is some kind of like safety harness, to keep his lips in place. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Seeking out this kind of information, like you will hear this all the time from the Daily Wire, from all sorts of conservative outlets. They will constantly fucking tell you, no, that doesn't matter. Here's a trans person that did something evil. Here's a trans person that did something evil. Like ultimately, it doesn't matter.
The
It's just-
Daily Wire had Blair White on, a trans woman, to come speak and tell her story. They're
Yeah.
clearly not trying to demonize all trans people.
Yeah, that
So,
is yet another goalpost movement.
Oh, so when they have someone on, it's just a goalpost. It's just that. No, they had someone on to tell her story.
mean,
so
Christian-
they're not,
Yeah, if the only trans person you're willing to have on is the anti-trans person, then yeah.
There was quite literally a time when you physically could not be a conservative because it would not fly. That has changed. So now
Oh no, I would have
can
been a
be.
slave to the Democrats.
Like, sure, certainly, yes, that
Yeah,
as well.
no, things have changed.
Like,
Great.
but that's my point, is that like people, the conservative movement adapts to the new social standards so that they can continue propagandizing and attacking whatever the fuck
No,
they
you
can.
just said the Daily Wire was demonizing and trying to make all trans people
They are.
seem like they're bad.
They're literally
when they're
using-
literally platforming a trans woman to tell her story.
Okay, but
and
like-
she got so many fans.
but isn't Blair White's like entire thing how bad trans people are? We've watched Blair White videos. Every Blair White video is like, oh my god, the trans community is terrible, and oh my god, here are all these trans predators that the trans community won't talk about because they're hiding the truth from you. And I don't know if I'm like really like a woman, you know, like I'm a trans woman. I don't know if we're like real or valid, and I definitely don't cry myself to sleep every night, you know. And like I understand like you shouldn't have to make any accommodations for me, and like I know that I'm sick in the head and this is a mental illness, and I'm just trying to cope with it as best as I can. But like every Blair White video is an extension of her self-hatred. Like this, yeah.
From that interview, so no, not true.
Yeah, because conservatives
And then
also
you said they're just
conservatives
using her.
use Candace Owens to quite literally say every fucking racist thing they ever want about black people.
We're just not going to agree. So let's watch. Like we're not even. Meeting.
Okay, I'm not even trying to. I'm not trying to like get
Candace
you to agree
Owens
with me. I'm just trying to show
no.
you the flaws in the way that you're
not
you're
a flaw,
thinking.
and Candace isn't propped up to spew racism.
Okay. I mean, come on. Candace Owens is a vehicle to say the most racist fucking shit that white people want to say.
That she said?
She
Remember when she literally dropped 1350? What did she drop the IQ gap or just 1350 in the George Floyd video? I think it was just 1350, but like she's bad enough that the IQ thing, I mean, defending Hitler is pretty bad, I'd say. Yeah. Did she do both? Yeah, she's done a lot of wacky stuff, you know. She's done a lot of wacky stuff. Yeah, well, she pulled the no angel thing, yeah, for sure.
regularly says things like black people that are victims of police brutality fucking deserved it. She will point
if you shoot at a cop or try to stab a cop, yeah, you do deserve it.
She will point to instances like even George Floyd to villainize and vilify George Floyd's background
talking about his past.
in an effort.
Just discussing his past.
You and I both.
What the fuck does his past have to do with anything? That's the point. Again, remember, it's not homophobic to want to punch people who are saying, I'm sweaty. She was just smearing the past of an innocent black man who was killed by the police, murdered by the police, with like the smug little grin, the face. How can this guy doesn't like being called gay? This is the gayest gay. Listen, I've spent time in West Hollywood, okay? I've seen gay people who could go to a bar in Tennessee and like blend in, and I've seen gay people who like radiate gay energy like they're fucking like uranium radiating fucking alpha particles, okay? Christian Walker is so gay that you need to wear like a lead sheet. Like you know those things that like dentists put like on you before they x-ray your mouth, okay? You need to wear that shit around him, okay? Because his fucking gay particles will go through anything short of lead, okay? And this bitchy fucking expression that he throws out there. Yeah, the lead bib. I hate that expression. God. Normally when I complain about behavior like this, I say the white gays, but yeah, I don't know. My priors are being challenged here.
Both know that is bullshit.
We're not allowed to talk about his past.
That's not about talking about his past. It's a way to develop a narrative to justify
about black people.
The state,
yeah, not at all.
To justify yet another state execution. Okay, yet another state execution of a black person in broad fucking daylight. Watch trans activists respond to allegations of inappropriate contact with minors, brandishes a legal weapon.
That's not. She was interviewing another trans woman. They're talking
what I'm
about
saying.
Jessica Yaneve.
I know they're using. First of all, I don't even know who the fuck that other person is, but she's like a fucking
she's a trans
psycho,
woman.
Right? She's like a psycho. There's like a
well-known thing like in Canada that Yaneve is like a fucking psycho.
Yeah, this is like the fucking person that they use. Blair White and Jessica Yaneve are literally two sides of the exact same coin, where like Jessica Yaneve and like all the psychotic shit that she does is utilizes a weapon against trans people, and Blair White is the trans person, the token trans that will say the transphobic things.
Not a token trans, just has her own thoughts and is interviewed about her thoughts.
Oh my god, yeah.
Well, the thing here ultimately is that the real token is Jessica Yaneve. There are plenty of weirdo, psychotic, pedo, like random ass guys out there, but they don't get highlighted and turned into a international scandal because they're not trans. That's it. Like the right is so fucking desperate for trans villains that they will lie and twist reality to find any they can fixate on. Okay, look, there are millions of trans people. Statistically speaking, a good number of them, at least a few, are going to be horrible fucking people, okay? That is a mathematical guarantee, all right? But the conservative narrative is to fixate on them and to give people the impression that they're overrepresented, that it's indicative of some, like, big, you know, a broad systemic issue, rather than... they're essentially clip-chimping reality.
It's just so strange that always, like, the you know, all of the unique individual opinioned trans folk or people like Candace Owens are just, you know, paid professional media operatives. It's so interesting how that works, you know? It's just, look, it's a way to get the bag, okay? That's just how it is.
No, but so when people on your side do it, it's not paid operative. So y'all are allowed to platform anyone.
No, we have paid operatives. We have paid operatives on the fucking... on the what do you call it, on the fucking liberal side too, even on the leftist side probably. Maybe not as much on the leftist side because it's not super it's not exactly a way to make a lot of money. There's like a couple people like myself, Felix, maybe like 10 fucking people that have actually been super successful being able to reach a gigantic audience, but we don't have that same media infrastructure that you admitted exists on the Republican side. But yes, there are certainly liberals who do this shit.
Way more media than we have. Maybe not news media.
Wait, what do you mean? We have way more media?
Liberal, maybe not progressives, but
yeah, what are you talking about?
Sure.
I'm specifying. Yes, there are certainly liberals who make a lot of money fucking saying some shit, and they might not believe it, or they might actually believe it. Ultimately, what I care about is what the outcome of that fucking propagandizing is. Yeah, and Candace Owens even fucking insulted Ahmaud Arbery, so I don't think you fucking think that the Ahmaud Arbery situation was like she literally cast doubt on Ahmaud Arbery, who was jogging. But
like breaking into homes.
Stop. You don't.
As he had previously.
Literally just a straight up lynching. Guys, it was literally just a lynching. This conversation happened earlier today. The court case is already ruled. Those fuckers got life in prison, 2 of them without the possibility of parole. He like wandered onto a construction site at some time in the past, and they were like, "Yep, gonna kill him. Yep, gonna run him down, unarmed, kill him." You know, he's actually evil. Yeah, he is. Guys, conservatives are evil. Yes, they are. They absolutely are, okay? I've said this before and I'll say it again, all right? A good number of conservatives, not all, but a good number of them, legitimately just like it when minorities suffer. They like it when black people get killed by the police. They like it when trans people get hounded and discriminated against. They like it when gay people have to stay in the closet. They enjoy it. Like, it shouldn't be surprising if you look at history, you know? If you look back at all of human history, and also most other countries on the world, you will notice that bigots tend to enjoy the suffering of the minorities they dislike. Is that a pattern that we recognize in all of humanity? We like everywhere, like all the time, like that's the rule, okay? Just because bigotry is slightly more covert in America today than it was in the past, or relative to like Saudi Arabia or whatever, doesn't mean that pattern has changed. How do you deal with people like this? There's no change in their mind. You humiliate them. That's the main thing. Not all conservatives are like that, and also oftentimes conservatives are like that because they believe they're victims of the degenerate behavior of others. They think that trans people or gay people represent an existential threat to the natural order, so their suffering is a kind of divine punishment for that behavior. That's why religious people in America are so like quick to say that, you know, a hurricane in San Francisco is God's punishment for gay people or whatever. Hurricanes don't hit San Francisco, but you get what I mean, you know. Like, that's the point, you know, that you can do 2 things, okay? You can either make their lives miserable so they shut up, you humiliate them, you stigmatize them, you ostracize them, which you should do. Bigots should live miserable lives. That is good. That is axiomatically good. Or on the other side of things, sometimes you can whittle away at the beliefs that they have, to the point where they no longer think of minority groups suffering as some kind of divine or righteous retribution for their like degenerate or unnatural behavior. You know, That's like the thing. There are also conservatives who legitimately don't enjoy the suffering of others and think that all this stuff is just either a fact of reality or just a necessary byproduct of the world being unfair. Those are like the people who are, those are the people who are homophobes because they legitimately believe that gay people are like suffering and their lifestyle being encouraged will lead to more people suffering. Now, that doesn't mean it's not bigotry. It's still really bad and still leads to a lot of bad outcomes, but those people can be appealed to with like arguments towards like empathy or whatever. Christian Walker cannot. You can throw empathy arguments at this guy all you want, but it is not going. It will not budge him. So other routes you have to go. I'd say. I mean, anyone still harping on the anyone harping on the Ahmaud Arbery thing right now would have been defending the lynching of black men in 1912. Okay, they would have been like, well, I heard from Jim Bob's uncle's nephew that he raped a girl. No evidence, but what are you gonna do? Like, that's what happened to Ahmaud Arbery. It was hearsay, and then they lynched him.
Stop. You don't believe that.
Yeah, I do.
No
I
fucking shot. You are going crazy. Radlib on this shit. He has a point on these things. Chill out, man. He's a guest. What? What the fuck? Oh, he's just transphobic. Never mind. Okay.
Well,
I thought he was like literally. Oh,
well,
yeah. Okay. That's just like he's just transphobic. I thought he was also saying like, no, he has a point on this. Like Ahmaud Arbery actually was deserved to be fucking executed.
No one said he deserved to be killed.
Oh, okay. Why did you bring that? Like he?
No, you.
Nobody said it, but you did basically say it. Like you didn't say it, but you did kind of say it though.
You said Candace Owens was flaming Ahmaud Arbery. Bringing up his past isn't flaming
Bringing
him.
up what
He
past?
did it. He had broken into homes previously. So
No, what? No, he walked onto a construction site. That's not breaking and entering. Literally. Oh my God. Hasan, you might not be a debate bro, but you know what you are? Physically strong, okay? Grab his head. Grab his head, Hasan. It's time to switch tactics, Hasan. Grab his head.
How is that bringing up his past?
Dude,
Don't grab your head. Grab his head.
You know what that is. You know
he
what that
didn't
is.
actually do it. That's what you're saying?
You know what that fucking
You're
is,
saying
dude.
he didn't actually
It doesn't
do
matter
it.
because the people that fucking chased him down had no idea.
Sure, she can still bring up his past.
No, but the reason why they do
You don't
that is
think
to
it's weird that
justify.
all the George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, all these people have a criminal past?
I didn't say Ahmaud Arbery deserved to be lynched. I'm just, lying about his history in an instance or something which was demonstrably in a courtroom proven to not be related to the circumstances of his lynching. For funsies. Just bringing it up for funsies,
Rayshard Brooks.
Do you think? Okay, don't be a pussy and fucking tell me straight up. Do you think George Floyd deserved to be executed by Derek Chauvin?
No, but had he cooperated, he wouldn't have been executed.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God.
They were kind
that's
to him
insane.
for.
So the answer is yes. So that's pussy shit right there. The answer then is yes. If you say like, oh, I mean, they didn't deserve it, but like, yeah, that's what you get, then you're saying they deserve it. That's what you're saying. That is what you're saying. Yeah.
Literally 8 minutes, however long. We're so kind. Do you need a water? Do you need us to roll down the window? Nope. Wouldn't cooperate. No, he didn't deserve to be executed. No one said he deserved to be executed.
What about Ahmaud Arbery? Should Ahmaud Arbery have cooperated?
No, he didn't deserve what he got. Of course not.
So you see, are you saying George Floyd deserved what he got? Because it seems like you're saying that there's a distinguishment.
No, but there was no opportunity for Ahmaud. It's a completely different circumstance. Had George Floyd cooperated, he wouldn't have been executed. Ahmaud Arbery, no. I mean,
there's no way out in the Ahmaud Arbery situation. So why would you bring up potentially what Ahmaud Arbery could have done in the past, and then also tie it back to the same narrative that Is it an accident that every
Because
single
at the
black
time
person
when
that
she
gets
was
killed?
when she was bringing that up, there were rumors that he had broken into a house. So she looked.
Wait, rumors. Wait, did he think it happened or not? Also, I like how he's saying there's nothing he could have done to stop this. Ahmaud Arbery didn't deserve it, but he's still like, oh, well, isn't it interesting how these people always have a criminal past? What's the relationship then? Why would you bring it up then if not to give the impression that they deserve it? If you're acknowledging like flatly, there's no relationship between their past and their lynching, that there's just nothing, that is no relationship whatsoever. Why bring it up if not to give the impression?
Looked into his criminal past, brought that up.
That's bullshit. That is.
We're not allowed
such
to bring
bullshit.
up. We're not allowed to bring up black people. We can bring
You
up
only-
white people.
No, you only do that if you are trying to fucking create.
When the fuck do conservatives bring up white people's past when they get killed? When does that? I guess the people Rittenhouse killed. That's it, I guess. Yeah, I guess Rittenhouse. The only time conservatives bring this up is like is if it's like part of like culture war, like political points or whatever. It's always a matter. It's always a they were no angel. It's always a point of discrediting.
A pretense of doubt that even the fucking
And it had nothing to do
racist
with
criminal
him
justice
being
system,
black.
even the racist criminal justice system did not agree with in fucking Georgia, by the way. Well, like actually, that's not true. They did originally agree with it, and then the person who threw the case away is now punished and is under a separate trial for quite literally allowing these fucking racist murderers to get away with doing a fucking modern day in broad daylight filmed lynching on a black man who did not deserve to fucking die. I just don't. I don't believe it. Like I don't believe that that you truly believe that all of these people are just like accidentally or just randomly bringing up people's past. I don't think that people deserve to die in the hands of the state, no matter what their fucking background is. By the way,
Oh,
that
if you go to shoot a cop, I do think the cop deserves to protect themselves.
except
What the fuck does that have to do with George Floyd or Ahmaud Arbery? What does that have to do with anything we're talking about?
in the overwhelming majority of instances, it's not actually an armed assailant that's being shot. It's unarmed people, especially when we're talking about black people, 21 times more likely that they are unarmed and being killed by police officers. And the attitude that we have in American society about why that's justifiable is exactly the same attitude that Candace Owens is advocating for whenever she does that white supremacist agitprop in a way that like we would literally cringe if a white person was doing it because we would understand that that person is being racist, but she gets away with it because she's a black woman. That's it. That is literally the same exact fucking narrative that like black people are violent, black people are inherently like dangerous.
No one
they're
said
they're
that.
aggressive.
No one ever
No,
brought that
because Candace Owens is too much of a pussy to fucking say it out loud.
No, maybe
because,
that's what you think. She's never.
No.
Optical flaw from Hasan here. It is true, by the way. Most of these like racist like black conservatives like do it is like a I'm one of the good one type thing. Same with like every token minority bullshit, like ashamed of being gay, like self-hating like black person, whatever, you know, Jesse Lee Peterson shit, whatever. But framing it that way from Hasan's perspective, you have to supply evidence, otherwise it does sound like you're projecting, I think, from a conservative's perspective.
No,
Even
because
she's never edged that way.
no,
So
because
maybe
white
you
people
believe
know
black
you
people
can't
are
say
aggressive
that.
and violent.
No, white people, you know for a fact that if
So
you say
bringing
that,
up crime
everyone is
statistics and bringing up someone's past isn't trying to say all black people.
bringing
are
up
violent.
crime statistics in an effort to justify over policing the black community
Not
is
justifying.
literally fucking
Not
an
justifying.
Ouroboros. It is a cyclical argument, and the cyclical
Are we
argument.
gonna finish the video? Like,
I mean, at this point, it's like it doesn't even.
you don't even
like-
want to watch it now.
Not really.
You don't want to watch his tape.
No, I can guess what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you.
I
Felix contributed a lot to this discussion.
think I could guess.
Just because I say I'm a walrus doesn't mean I'm actually a walrus. I'm a human
Well, let's
being.
hear what he has to say, and maybe the trans couple has a good.
Yeah,
I do have to. I do
Argument
have to.
back.
I do have to go in like 4 minutes.
Okay.
But I can kind of guess what he's going to say. I can kind of guess.
Well,
Dr. Phil's been doing a lot of this lately.
Let's
He
cheer
had,
on the trans couple.
Didn't he
Maybe
have the
they a good
CRT guy
argument.
on too?
He had the CRT guy on. He's
Yeah.
doing
And
every hot button social issue.
Alright, that's the end of the video. Fuck! God. I wish I could have this easy peasy shit, man. This is the issue, okay? Because I'm a debate bro, the only conservatives who dare step next to me are the people, like the idiots who like train themselves rhetorically to like be like the people who like paper tiger themselves. You know what I mean? But like the average conservative is like unfathomably stupid. Like I feel like I could make Christian Walker cry in 5 minutes in an IRL debate, you know? Fuck, I wish I can't watch this anymore though. Jesus. All right, well. Yeah, it's a bit of layout. Look, again, like whatever. No hate to Hasan, okay? Like, yeah. I like ContraPoints a lot, but I've seen Contra debate and like it's also pretty bad. It's a specific skill set, but like, you know, I don't know. It's just I wish it was possible to give to give a large audience access to some of these arguments, you know. I think that'd be really, really good. We can see if we can't bait like Christian Walker into a debate sometime in the future, but I sincerely doubt that'll be the case. Yeah. I don't know. Have you seen his rant on you during the stream? I saw it earlier. Yeah, whatever. I don't care. Yeah, fuck. Want to film a call on TikTok? Oh shit. Oh shit, you're right. We could do that right now, couldn't we, Tempest? Oh yeah, we could just do that right now, right? You can edit it. I have editors. And I pay you. We got to think of a good hook. Hold on. Put the hair down. Oh wait, you're right. We have to, because he's gay, right? We have to seduce him. Glasses off. No, I need to be able to see. All right. I'm TikToking right now because my editors are putting this on TikTok. All right. Christian Walker. I've seen you described by people like Glenn Greenwald as smart and cool, but I saw you on Hasan's thing and you seemed like really dumb. If you, you know, actually want to back up any of your points, or if you appreciate contention at all, love to talk to you about like anything. Let's say trans issues, huh? Whether or not trans women are women, just like anything, okay? Because I've noticed there are a lot of people who like to prop themselves up as being really smart when being sassy into a TikTok video for 60 seconds is the criteria for looking impressive. But like 5 minutes in a real conversation, they crumble into ash. So, your choice? Oh, you rated my appearance. You said I looked like a white supremacist, which I can only assume you said because of my race, which was very racist of you. And I'll accept an apology in the form of a debate. So, just letting you know. And if you don't do it, you're a pussy. Can you say pussy on TikTok? Is that allowed? You can beep that out if not.